the final boss, Rien. She has boarded the last ship to Japan, and her plan? Well, it's to turn millions into tan, drain their Tao, harvest their life force, and use it to resurrect her dead master, Jofuku. Well, wait. So the final boss has a final boss? Yeah. And this one is the root of everything. Jofuku is the true origin of the Tensen. During the Qin dynasty, he was an alchemist serving China's first emperor, the real historical emperor who was obsessed with immortality in our real world, just like the legend of Shu Fu. Jofuku was sent across the sea to search for eternal life, but when he arrived at the island and found no natural immortality waiting for him, well, he decided to create it himself. Using Taoist principles and alchemy, Jofuku manipulated Tao, fusing human bodies with plant life and engineered the Tensen. Rien wasn't just one of his creations, she loved him deeply and they were smashing. That's why her entire plan revolves around resurrection, because to her, Jofuku was everything. But here's the twist. After centuries of constant regeneration and Tao manipulation, Jofuku's body suffered arborification. The very power he used to escape death actually consumed him. He slowly turned into a tree, just like anyone who loses balance in Tao. Rien hid this truth from the other Tensen. She is clinging to immortality to preserve her love. The Tensen can regenerate, but it's impossible to revive the soul, so a large amount of tan is needed, hence the plan to go to Japan and kill everyone. But along the way, Rien faced off against Shugen, the strongest samurai. Here we discover that Shugen had sipped from the elixir of life, and that gave him the same regeneration hacks as the Tensen. Ganten Susai also gets in the way, even cleaving the burning ship in half, helping the entire team. But these two were only the opening act, all to distract Rien, because enter Gabimaru and Sagari, backed up by the rest of the surviving team. Clap your hands, people. This is the final showdown like it's the Avengers. So instead of trading blows and getting defeated, Rien forces Gabimaru's Flower Tao into Overdrive. His regeneration spirals out of control, erupting into flowers, just like Jofuku, the man who started this entire story. Stability is everything for Tao. Strength must be balanced with weakness, reason with emotion, and so on and so forth. And just when Gabimaru is about to be lost completely, Sagari makes her move. She cuts away every part of his body that has fully transformed into flowers, then restrains what remains, holding him tightly to prevent his Tao from running wild. This allows Gabimaru to survive, and he powers up again with the will to live to stand by Sagari in their final battle together. But Gabimaru realizes something. To defeat Rien, they need to destabilize her Tao, and that is by destroying Jofuku, her lover. Gabimaru moves on to destroy the golden corpse and stops. This is because in front of him are two traditional wedding garments. The sight hits him harder than any attack. They remind him of his own marriage to Yui, and for the first time in this fight, Gabimaru feels empathy. When he hesitates before destroying the Jofuku statue, Shugen sees it as a failure, but that hesitation is actually his evolution. Gabimaru no longer kills blindly. He understands love even in his enemy, but before he can act, Shugen, he's determined to finish the job and destroys the statue himself. He don't give a shit about that sentimental value stuff and says, "Right, you lot are stupid." This is all because of his childhood trauma. After losing his parents to criminals, Shugen wanted revenge and still bore all his anger issues even after a decade of training. All that energy made him committed to the Shogun of Japan. Anyone who helped criminals, anyone related to criminals by blood, even his own clan, the Yamada Asemon, they were all his enemies. But whilst his act of violence works and actually weakens Rien, this becomes his own undoing. It is precisely why the story kills off Shugen here. He presses forward alone, fighting Rien head on, convinced that absolute justice must be carried out by his own hand. Rien is still powerful enough to strike him down during their clash. He dies standing on his belief, but the truth is, this idiot just couldn't evolve into a better person. Gabimaru proves he has surpassed his worldview, living on because of his evolution in emotion. Rien literally asks him about that. She grabs Gabimaru and asks, why didn't you do it? And he answers that he is also married. Seeing the wedding garments reminded him of his own wedding. And in that moment, he understood her not as an enemy, but as someone who loved deeply and couldn't let go. That confession unlocks Rien's memories. She remembers her 1,000-year journey with Jofuku, finally understanding the truth that immortality didn't save love, it only prolonged the pain. So with a single Tao hand sign, Rien erases herself from existence, choosing to be reunited over eternity. Gabimaru had now saved the world from becoming an empty flower garden called Hell's Paradise. And whilst the survivors drift away on a life raft, Yuzuriha and Ganten Tsutsai, they joke about who actually deserves the Shogun's pardon. And on top of that, Sagari, she's still processing the fact that she's become friends with criminals. So they all joke around whilst debating this, having fun. But then one of them mentions that if anyone could tame Gabimaru, are we not sure that his wife Yui must be an evil villain? And that's when our MC laughs like crazy for the first time, to everyone's surprise, imagining that his wife was a villain. My boy has finally become a human and not hollow, cherishing all the bonds he made on the island as they all declare themselves to be friends. Gabimaru tells them all of his stories about Yui, and they all exchange their lives whilst drinking and eating food on their way back to Japan. Now, out of all the characters, Ganten Tsutsai receives the official pardon, standing beside Jika. Meanwhile, this dude, he submits a false report to the Shogun, so that way the others won't be hunted down and can live a peaceful life. And along the way, he becomes head of the Yamada clan, and he's going to change it for the better and future, as remember, he was the one that actually helped them defeat Rien and thought, wait a second, those other executioners, they're crazy and don't know the value of life. I don't mind working with you guys. On top of that, this guy is so nice. Before parting ways, he quietly promised to Gabimaru that he'll arrange a reunion with his wife. Gabimaru and Sagari finally say their goodbyes, each bearing a smile that they are so meaningful to each other and helped each other along the way in their journey to understand what their purpose is. So 10 days later, at the designated meeting spot, Gabimaru finally sees his wife again. Iwagakure is completely gone now, by the way, thanks to the chief being executed for having his own agenda on the island, proving that this immortal man was a fraud all along. Now, with their chains gone and freedom given, Yui and Gabimaru can finally spend the rest of their days living in peace. Bro almost bust a nut as soon as he saw her, blushing and going crazy with happiness to see his wife. And with a time skip later, Yuzuriha and Sagari pay them a visit, showing us that their friendship still bloom as a party has been arranged. The story ends with Gabimaru relaxing like anyone else, peacefully asleep for the first time in his life, becoming like a house cat. Now, to enjoy more peak fiction, watch this video on your screen right now.